Well, the trades keep on coming. Here we go. It's fantasy football today. We're talking Amari Cooper going to the Buffalo Bills. Adam Azer and Dave Richard here. Okay, Dave. So is this more exciting than the Devontae Adams trade?
Not more exciting, but just, I guess, a little less exciting, but still plenty exciting. We're talking about a receiver who's still very much in his prime. Yeah, I think he's still very much, pretty much in his prime. Mm-hmm. He's sort of in his prime.
The tail end of his prime.
He's in the bottom of the 8th inning of his prime, but he's going to a team that desperately needs a number one wide receiver, and he's going to be fed plenty of targets. And huge upgrade for him, huge upgrade for the Bills, and I am excited about it.
I'm thrilled about it. I mean, obviously, it's a huge upgrade for sure. How would you rank Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Amari Cooper?
Rest of season, it's going to be Adams 1, but it turns out I'm probably a little too over the moon for Adams. I think I might still. It's going to be close between Wilson and Cooper. They're going to be in that same range, somewhere between like 15th and 20th among wide receivers.
So this just happened. Obviously, I didn't have the time to do my research. I just want to see. I know they were a little.
I did all the research I needed to do about this year for Amari Cooper in Cleveland.
Well, no, I want to know about Buffalo's offense, and are they still extremely run heavy, basically, with Joe Brady as they were? But I'll tell you this about Amari Cooper: he was wide receiver 25 in PPR ADP on Fantasy Pros, which aggregates multiple websites. He is 7th, I think, in targets amongst wide receivers, and he is not even a top 50 wide receiver per game. It has been so bad. This is bad for Deshaun Watson, right, Dave? I mean, let's talk 5 minutes on that. This is like the end of it. No. But do the Bills change it? Stephon Diggs was really bad after Joe Brady. Is Cooper going to a bad situation, or is he just going to fit right in, be a number one guy, and crush it?
I view this trade as an admission by the Bills front office and coaching staff that they don't have a good enough number one wide receiver, and that they had to do something to appease their quarterback, make their offense solid, if not good, and finally solve this wide receiver issue that's been building up since the second that they traded Stephon Diggs to Houston. And you can look at it. You mentioned the pass run ratio. They've run at the 5th highest rate of any team this year.
Yeah.
It's 51% to 49%. And now I think that I don't think they're going to go crazy pass heavy and they're going to be like 60% pass, but they'll be in the 54 to 56% range. It's about league average, a little bit less than that. But the point is that Cooper should start vacuuming up a huge majority of the targets there, moving into the primary role where he lines up mostly outside, a little bit in the slot. And then the stat that this is why Amari Cooper is 50th or whatever you said he is in fantasy points. On the season, 32% of his 53 targets were uncatchable from Deshaun Watson. Okay, so take all those targets, whatever the number is, lop off a third of them. They did him no good. So now the targets will be more accurate. He will continue to be high profile in that regard. He's going to be an absolute weapon for that offense. You're looking at a number 2 wide receiver in Amari Cooper.
And he has 6 drops. That's second in the NFL behind only Darius Slayton. So I do want to point that out. Some of it has been on him. 6 drops is crazy. I mean, that is uncharacteristic of Amari Cooper.
Exactly. And I think some of that has to do with his comfort level in the quarterback.
Yeah, maybe.
Listen, he could go to Buffalo and he could have 6 more drops in his 5 games with Josh Allen. That would surprise me. I don't think that that's who Amari Cooper is.
So this is obviously not good for Khalil Shakir. I'm not necessarily dropping him. I mean, we just might see a better passing offense here, but I think you could probably drop Shakir, right?
I wouldn't make it like he's droppable. That's the best way to put it. If we were to drop a dropometer number on him, it would probably be a 5 or a 6. And he might be on and off fantasy rosters the rest of the year. Bye-week replacement, somebody who certainly will see a little bit lighter coverage with a better receiver in that offense. Same thing with Dalton Kincaid. But Kincaid, we're never going to drop. We're still going to start him as a top 10 type of fantasy tight end. But yeah, obviously this is going to hurt Shakir. I think what you're hoping for is that it makes both Shakir and Kincaid a little bit more efficient in the offense.
Yeah, Kincaid, that's a bummer. We were really hoping on him just crushing target. He hasn't really been that bad, you know. He hasn't been that good, but he hasn't been that bad. It was tough to see Dawson Knox score a touchdown last night and not Dalton Kincaid, but this can't be good for him. And I'll ask you this. Who would you rather have now? Jerry Jeudy?
Whoever you're going to say is who I'm going to rather have.
Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, Shakir.
Why no interest in Jerry Jeudy?
Because his quarterback makes it very hard to buy into what he's capable of doing. Taking away nothing from what Jerry Jeudy's track record has been before this season even started. Now, maybe the case can be made that Jerry Jeudy could be better off with Jameis Winston. Certainly, Jameis is more of a gunslinger, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So I would not actively try and add Jerry Jeudy to fantasy rosters. I'd put him in the exact same boat as Shakir.
Does this make David Njoku more appealing?
Yeah, a little bit. He could see both he and Jeudy should see more targets. The problem is how many of their targets are catchable or have been catchable or will be catchable.
Here's a trade that we're seeing here. Amari Cooper for Brandon Ayuk and Nick Chubb. Which side would you rather have?
Oh my gosh, the Ayuk and Chubb side all the way.
Okay.
Like, listen, Amari Cooper's great. He's going to get plenty of targets still, just like he did in Cleveland. There'll be better targets. He'll be good. He's not about to become a top. I'd be surprised if he became a top 12 wide receiver.
Okay. All right, Dave. That's our analysis of this big trade. I'm pretty pumped for it. I think, you're not really hurting like a must-start fantasy option. Like Garrett Wilson, that's a tough blow getting Devontae Adams. You're not hurting a must-start fantasy option in Khalil Shakir. You're not even Dalton Kincaid. I mean, he's pretty much a must-start, but by default. And you're getting just such upside here. It could be really great for him. And I honestly think there's some upside with Jerry Jeudy where he's in the 14 point, because he's not that far from him most weeks. I mean, he's had 4 weeks with double-digit PPR fantasy points.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of where he lives, and I wouldn't expect him to suddenly become 15 PPR points week after week after week. Here, while I got you here, I will give me a second to count this. If you could filibuster for about 15 seconds.
Yeah, Judy's rostered in 64% of leagues. He's coming off 2 good matchups and his 2 worst games of the season by far. 3 targets at Washington, 3 targets at Philadelphia, 1 catch in both games, fewer than 5 points.
All right, so 9 of his 36 targets were uncatchable up to this point in the year.
A lot.
Yeah, it's 25%. An average number is probably around 20%.
I wonder if Aiden is right in our chat. He says, Amari sucks, Shakir sucks, and Jeudy sucks. I don't think Amari Cooper sucks. I think
Somebody needs a lollipop.
Yeah, he's been what does he have? An Angels jersey on. Well, if I was an Angels fan, I'd think everybody sucks too. Mike Trout sucks. Amari Cooper's great. He just needs the right opportunity, and hopefully this is it. Okay. Here's a good question. Would you rather have George Pickens now that it looks like Russell Wilson's going to start, or Amari Cooper?
Cooper.
Garrett Wilson or Pickens?
Wilson. I don't know between Wilson and Cooper, man. I'm still kind of weighing that one out. Currently, I have them both over Pickens on the trade chart.
And I don't want to overrate Russell Wilson. I mean, he's probably better for Pickens, but he hasn't been a good quarterback in 4 seasons or something. So, all right, that's the topic for tomorrow's show. We'll talk to you on Fantasy Football Today on Wednesday. We have plenty to talk about, of course, as we reassess the trade values for all of these players involved. Have a great one, everybody, and thanks again.